Hello, I'm Ryan, and welcome to a new, fresh edition of Corner Office. Today we have the brand new Mayor of Marlborough. We have Mayor Christian Dumais, and this is his first time on what is actually his show. If you want to rebrand it at some point, that's totally up to you, but we got a nice new logo
I know,
up here,
I love
Mayor
it.
Christian Dumais.
Looks great.
And I'm so excited to have you here at the studio.
It's an honor to be here. Yeah.
So it's been what, a month that you've been in office right now? A little longer.
Two. March 1st will be 2 months, which is crazy to think.
Oh, I was just looking at the notes that we're talking about the first 30 days.
First 30 days.
Yeah. So you've got some new staff working with you.
Yeah.
Who's joined the team?
So Ryan is my chief of staff. He was my campaign manager. He's a huge addition to the team. And then we have Heather, who is my executive administrator. She actually worked for the legal department in the city of Marlborough. So we welcome her back. Fluent in Spanish, so that's a great addition to the office as well. And we all work very well together, and they're both huge assets to Marlborough, and I'm happy to have them. And we're like one great little family, which is great. So.
And it's been great for us to work with you too, because already communication has just been really wonderful. And you've already rolled out a new newsletter. So tell me about the newsletter.
Yeah, so during the campaign, we heard loud and clear that information was lacking, and why not have it come from the mayor's office? So we did a newsletter. It was extremely well received. And if you are not signed up for the newsletter, you can go to the mayor's page on their website and sign up. And just put in your email address and your name, and then you'll be getting them monthly. And
what sort of information is in the newsletter?
Well, we haven't had much snow, but thankfully. But there was information about snowshoes and early voting. We actually have a rodent issue, which I'm sure we'll get into with that.
Well, we could go there right now if you want.
There's information about that. So who would have thought my first initiative would be about rodents? But,
so yeah, let's talk about the rodents. There's a lot of construction in Marlborough, and I believe that is what has really caused some of these little critters to come out from hiding and infiltrate the city in full force. So there's a new tool to report these rodents.
Of course. And so that's the big thing. So we need to track where these rodents are. So that's why there's rodent sightings. So and once we compile that data as to where those rodent sightings are, so if you happen to see one in your yard or your neighborhood, please go to the website, fill out that form, because we're going to take that data and track it. We're going to use GIS information where we'll plug in this information as to where the rats are. I don't mean to laugh, but again, who would have thought that this would have been a thing? But it is a thing. We're taking it very seriously. We've heard the issues and concerns throughout social media and people calling the mayor's office, and we're taking it very seriously. So once that data is compiled, then we can move on to the next step as to getting them under control. Right. It's not a citywide issue, so that's why it's so important to track that. And it sounds a little ridiculous for people to log in and track that and notify us, but that's how we can help us help you kind of thing, So if we don't have that information, then we can't track to see where the actual issues are so we can remedy the situation.
And I also think it's important to note that if you are seeking to do any treatments of your own, to really reach out to a professional, because there's been a lot of talk about different rodenticides that could really affect the environment in general. We see birds that are passing away because they've eaten a rodent that ate a poison, and it's really terrible. So reach out to a professional, and the city is doing its part to swoop in and save the day, hopefully.
And to that picture, you're absolutely correct with that. People just think a quick fix is just to throw out poison, and that's not the case. No. Especially with rain and getting to our water and things of that nature, it's just not needed. So there actually is a program at the library, I believe, coming up, I think the 29th, about rodenticide. So if you want to check out that, what are alternative usage and things of that nature. But yeah, we need to control the situation in a different manner than just throwing poison out.
Absolutely.
I suggested buying a bunch of snakes, but that was not. That was kind of like, that we could probably do better with that. I kid, obviously, in good fun. It was a Simpsons episode, which I think is pretty funny. That now how accurate the Simpsons have been in real life situations, and now. Again, not to make light of the situation, but if you see a rat or a rodent, please log on and indicate to us so we can track that and see where in Marlborough again, because talking to people, like, dealing out in the community and saying hello, I'm like, wait, we have a rat issue? I'm like, oh, well, it obviously hasn't affected your part of the city, but it has directly affected.
Well, in general, communication, if you see something, say something, whether it's rodents or a pothole. There are reporting tools for reporting potholes in the city. Yeah, the city has a lot of great infrastructure already in place to report problems and issues that you're seeing. But if you don't say anything, nobody's going to know about it.
And I think that's what's so great about the newsletter is highlighting the tools that are already set up for that, because a lot of people don't know about those tools.
Let's talk about another completely different tool, which is the MWRTA, which is something that is not really utilized as much as it could be here in Marlborough. What is that?
So the MWRTA is just their public transportation that goes through Marlborough. It has different locations. I think it's the 7 and 7A bus route. So we're working with MWRTA to see if those routes or actually work well with the city. And not, I was able to go on a ride along from downtown Marlborough to the mall, and complete in a little vest, and to see what stops are available and to utilize those access points so you can have public transportation throughout Marlborough.
Is there a cost to utilize it?
The cost is very minimal, but yes, and you get your little card and you can do the balance right online, or it's a pretty effective way to get from the city, or around the city. But again, it's now up to my administration to focus on how do we utilize this program even better to make it more efficient throughout the city, which is kind of a cool thing to think about, where public transportation is always a hot button issue, but how do we make it effective here in Marlborough?
Absolutely. You've been so busy in your first 30 days. And when I spoke to you recently, you were so excited telling me about your experiences visiting many of the public schools and getting to meet with not only the wonderful students there, but some of the faculty and staffers. What's that been like? I know the list is very long of all the different schools you've been to. I know Marlborough Public Schools, and you were just at Assabet yesterday. So what's that been like?
It's great. I think schools often get a bad rap, and I think to showcase some positivity, like if I'm having a bad day, I know I can just go to a school, and there's a true heart in the school system. When I get to high five some elementary school kids or seeing all the incredible things that Assabet does, from a technical standpoint and a vocational standpoint, it's pretty impressive. I enjoy doing it. It's great for morale to say, hey, I'm in these schools. I see what's going on there. I appreciate everything that the school teachers are doing, and kind of like, hey, I'm here. I'm listening. I'm present. I'm engaged. And that to me, I think is what a mayor should be doing, is just to be out in the community and seeing real life as to what's going on. We have a lot of space issues throughout the elementary schools, and to see that firsthand, it's pretty eye-opening, so it puts a different spin on what is needed,
And in many ways, you sort of are the bridge between the government and the school, because city council doesn't get involved with the schools, but you as mayor are on the school committee.
I chair the school.
So you are sort of that one link that holds it together.
Yeah, and I think that school committee and city council should be more engaged. I think we as a city all need to be more engaged in what's going on, whether that's schools or local government. And if I can bridge that gap, and I'm happy to do it, because we all are part of this community, and that's what I love. Like there's such a sense of pride living and working in Marlborough, and if my office can shine on that, that's what I love about most, is just taking things and providing that information and saying, hey, look at what all the great things we're doing here. Because I think that kind of gets lost along the way, and it's pretty exciting to showcase that.
Something that I know you're excited to roll out is a new website, which is really going to increase the accessibility of the current website and just take it to a brand new level. Making it easier to navigate, integrating new AI features and chat. Tell us, why do you want to change up the website?
So I think our website's pretty stagnant. It's a little outdated. We're not at the most top tier that we could be when it comes to accessibility and finding information. So it needed a whole redesign from soup to nuts. And we brought it down to council, and council was overwhelmingly supportive. So I thank the city council for that. I think they understand that there's need for that. Again, it just goes back to having that information, and having it in a place where people can access it. And have
because all the information is there. It's just a little difficult to navigate.
It is.
And there's so much good information. You want it at your fingertips.
Right. I should be able just to log on and find something quickly. And with the AI chat box feature, that will definitely help. It can be able to translate into different languages. So that way we have a lot of diversity here in Marlborough, and a lot of information gets lost with that different population. So if we can serve those needs and those demands, for me, it was like, why not? Why are we not doing this? And why are we so behind the 8 ball when it comes to technology?
Well, it's also like one of the most forward-facing aspects of the community for a visitor or a potential business or a person who wants to maybe move to the city. First thing, if you're searching for the city of Marlborough, I think it's number one. I think the City of Marlborough website is the first thing that pops up in the search.
And I would think so too. But again, living here for so long, you kind of forget that. Just because you're in the day-to-day of life, but when you have other people like, hey, and then we can change things seasonally, when is leaf pickup? What is the rec department doing regarding summer and spring? And, again, back to this snowshoe, like you can rent out snowshoes, or you can rent out a canoe in the winter, the summertime, so having that accessibility and change that seasonally pretty quickly is definitely something that needs to happen.
Absolutely. And of course, it's probably going to require someone to manage and create a lot of this new content. And you've proposed to City Council a new position of Communications Director.
Correct. Yeah, so this is what I think most excited about, is just to streamline that communication. I think it's needed. No one takes ownership of the website, which I think is very difficult when you're trying to access that information and put current content. The ball's dropped. But this position is more than just the website. They'll be doing the newsletter, they'll be doing outreach. The idea is for them to speak Portuguese. So we have a very specific mindset regarding this position. But it also is just another body in the mayor's office, which is very much needed to do some special projects. So it's not just website specific. It's a very, very diverse position that I hope the council will support, because I think it's needed. And in talking to different department heads, they need to be relieved of some of this social media, or at least have some direction as to what are we posting, where are we posting, and kind of streamline that information so it's not siloed to different departments. There has to be
it's a whole nother job in many aspects. Right. Here at the studio, of course, our business is content creation. But even us, we're really great at creating video content. Right. But when it comes to promoting it and creating blogs to go alongside with it, I don't have a staff writer. Right. So there are so many, if you're working with the health department, they're good at giving COVID vaccines and flu shots. Right. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they have the tools at their disposal right now to push out that information and make it snappy and effective.
Right, and they can have all the flu clinics and COVID clinics that they want, but if no one's utilized or no one knows about it, then how are we going to utilize that service? And I think that's the disconnect. Like, we have so many great things in Marlborough, and how do you showcase that? And
I know there's some talk at the Finance Committee about the cost of this position, and my notes say that it's not going to cost anything. What do you
so this first, so from now into the fiscal year, we are using a different line item. So that's already been allocated for that. So it's for the substance abuse coordinator position that we have yet to fill. I think that salary, from a counselor standpoint, when I was on the council, the salary was negotiated back and forth quite a bit, and it was severely underpaid. So that's why I don't think we were able to get that position filled. We still have enough money to fill that position between now and the end of the year. So we're not like getting rid of the program.
I don't want that. Still a pretty important position that we'd want to have in the city as well.
And as a city councilor, I really pushed for that position, and even I wanted more than just that one position. I think there should be more than just one person, because it's such a huge issue. And to have such a low salary, that's why we couldn't get the right person based upon the qualifications that's needed for that position. So I just want to rest assure the public that that position still can be funded. There's still enough money allocated for between now. It will be back on the line item next fiscal year. We're just trying to utilize monies that was already allocated in this previous budget.
Absolutely. Like I've said, you've been out and about, and you had your first chat and chew.
Yeah.
That's with the seniors?
It is.
So was that right at the senior center, or where did you have that?
Yeah, it was right at Senior Center. It was this past Saturday, and I want to thank the Marlborough Lions Club because they came in and made all these incredible breakfast sandwiches for all the seniors. And
I saw some great photos too.
Yeah, it was great.
And you had a good turnout.
I was actually pretty impressed with the turnout. We were at max capacity.
On a Saturday?
On a Saturday in a waiting list, which was pretty incredible. So I think, and that's what's great about the senior center. The senior center is usually Monday through Friday. So a lot of seniors are still working. Our senior population is changing, where if they're still working and they're still engaged, or they're volunteering, and they're busier than ever. So to make some time on a Saturday, so I want to thank Trish at the Senior Center for coming in on her day off and kind of helping out with that, and the Lions Club. And it was a tremendous success. I can't tell you how many people were thankful for the newsletter. They're thankful for the opportunity. I can't even tell you how many questions I had, and it was informative. And I think that's what's so great about the mobile mayor's office, is taking things on the road and going to people and saying, hey, this is the update. This is exactly why I love this program, because it's me saying, hey, this is what's going on in the community. This is what's going on in my office. This is what's going on in different departments. Again, it's informing the public what's going on.
This just goes to show that people do want to be informed. Part of me wants to think that they weren't there just for a free breakfast.
I tell myself that because I don't think I'm not that handsome, nor am I that entertaining. But again, I think it's a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, the sandwiches were incredible. So I was there for the food. No, but again, when you are able to provide something, you never know how it's going to work out. I honestly thought there was probably going to be like 12 people that would show up, but to walk into a packed room and that we're all engaged and they brought their questions, and that's pretty cool, because you want people to be engaged, and when they're lining up to do so, that people are craving this information and they want it, and it's up for my office to provide that.
I'm going to go off script for a second.
Okay.
And, as mayor, as a former city councilor, you were engaged from a fairly early time in your life. What led you to seek out that civic engagement? What led you to want to serve this city of Marlborough? Because it's not every person that you meet that has an interest in the city that they live in.
Sure.
I'm sure we could find people in Marlborough that don't even know where City Hall is, and they drive past it every day.
That pains me.
Okay, well, skip that. But what led you specifically to want to be engaged and serve the city?
I honestly think starting the hair salon and being able to create that community on that smaller scale, where you are this leader of this business, but also can create an atmosphere with your team and with your clients where people come in and it's a sense of community, and I think that's how it all started. And I got involved with the Chamber of Commerce and was able to help out with that and on a bigger sense with local businesses. And then it just kind of grew. I never thought I would be the mayor in a million years, never, nor did I want to, but I have so much love and pride for this city that it's kind of like this is what I was destined to do almost, and you never know where you're going to be. If I told my prepubescent self that I was going to be running this city, I'm like, yeah, right, there's no way. I never thought I would be living in Marlborough, and now to be the mayor, it's the best job, where you have someone leading the charge who genuinely cares about the individuals and wants to make it a point where every voice is heard and can make such a huge impact on day-to-day life, but still be able to laugh and be positive and showcase all things Marlborough. Like, I honestly believe Marlborough is the best community in the Commonwealth, and I'm going to make sure everyone knows about it because it is, and that to me is like I've won in the game of life. But that's so boring. Like, people are like, really, you believe that? I do. Like, and I don't know why, but it truly is an honor to represent such an incredible municipality.
And just the fact that I'm hearing you, the way you want to hear from people, the way that you are open to change, that you are open to new ideas.
Right.
You even have a community survey out right now. So what's the point of the survey?
So honestly, the survey is just to hear from residents. What's great about Marlborough? What's not great about Marlborough? Do you have kids in the school system? How can we make the school system better? Do you like the website? What can be changed to the website? Do you want to be involved? Do you want to join a board and commission? So it's a multi-question survey, and I think that's important to hear directly from the horse's mouth. What do you want as living in Marlborough as a resident? And then we can compile that data and run with it. I've always said as a city councilor, I don't know if there's a problem unless I'm told there is one. So if you're not filling out the community survey, if you're not telling about where the road an issue, I can't help you, and my transition team was incredible, from being elected till now. They have a report and I thank them for being engaged and wanting to help and trying to figure out issues to tackle and what those issues are, and I think there'll be a lot of crossover with the community survey, which I can't wait to see the results of that, Again, it's just...
And that's right on the website?
It's right on the website,
right.
Yeah. And again, it's empowering people, what do you see Marlborough in 5 to 10 years? And that's a question, do you want... How much growth do you want? How much non-growth do you want? It allows people to actually be heard.
And I think part of building a strong community is taking ownership and pride in your community. So what does it take to change someone who has a negative opinion of issue A, B, or C, to flip them, to be proud of the city that they live in? And hopefully they're the minority, and hopefully it's a majority of people that actually really love being here.
But I think providing correct, accurate information sends a different message, where if people aren't being told things, then they're going to hear gossip that's not true and run with it. And I think...
So stay off the Facebook forums.
Well, I mean, you can, but again, once the website's up, or having these conversations with this, with this episode and being out in the community, it kind of will get rid of that rumor mill and to provide that accurate. No, because here's the resource. Here's where that information is. This is where I find it. And I think when you have that, then things kind of get out of control.
Right.
But again, that's what I think most excited is to provide that information, because as a city councilor, I wasn't getting information, and I think that you think when you become some type of elected official, you get all the information and all the knowledge, and that was not the case.
It's not handed down to you in a lovely bow.
No, and that's up to, I'm sure that was up for me to seek that out, but I don't think that I should have to literally seek every question out. I don't need this information to be spoon-fed, but I need it to be easily accessible and to be provided, and I think that's the whole concept of my administration. I think that's why I was elected, but we'll see.
And I hope this show will just continue to be a platform where we can just dispel rumors and highlight and showcase wonderful things happening here in the city. And
that's what I think the beautiful thing is, another way to provide that information. And the residents at home who are watching this can always reach out to my office or WMCT-TV, and we'll be doing open town hall meetings coming up, where people can get direct access information with me leading the charge. And I think that was so great about the chat and show, where they came in with their questions and they just fired away, and
you didn't even have to come in with an agenda. They had plenty of questions to keep you going all morning.
Yeah, and I think the questions were probably about an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes of questions. Yeah. But again, it was an opportunity for them to do so. And that, to me, I was a little nervous, and I said, be easy. It's only been, 6 weeks, but they rose to the occasion. And I think everyone left smarter than they arrived, because now they have the accurate information, what's going on in their community.
Well, I'm definitely going to leave this episode a little smarter than when I came in.
Well, I hope so.
It's been great having you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me. This is your show, after all.
Next time I'm going to ask you questions.
That's a different show. That's another day.
Too fun. No, and again, to the residents, please reach out and do the community survey and let me know where the rodent issues are. Again, help me help you. I think that's going to be my tagline.
Help me help you.
Help me help you. But I thank you for the time. And,
Absolutely.
And I always enjoy WMCT-TV and everything that you guys offer.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no.
Well, I'm going to wrap it up. That brings us to the end of another episode of Corner Office. I'm Ryan, of course, joined by Mayor Christian Dumais. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for some other great programming here on WMCT-TV.